contest. Talent, health, and interview. Now the scores have been calculated and are currently being verified by the local accountants of Bradford Accounting. Mr. Bradford, could you please bring up the results?" Everyone clapped as the accountant in black tie attire and a black mask walked up and handed her an envelope. He then motioned for her to bend down and whispered in her ear. "I see," Winona said. "Thank you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you see 5 girls in front of you, but due to a disqualification, there will only be 4 places awarded for the Queen and her court. Your Queen will receive a $500 scholarship to the school of her choice, and she and her court will ride in the Queen's float in tomorrow's parade." As the crowd clapped, the girls looked at each other, puzzled. Who was disqualified? "The 3rd runner-up is Alicia Newhouse." Everyone clapped as the lovely blonde received flowers and a sash. "The 2nd runner-up is Lakeisha Smith." The beautiful girl with the chocolate skin stepped up and received her sash. "There are 3 girls left," Winona said, "and only 1 winner. The 1st runner-up is Madison Austand." Everyone clapped as the curvy brunette received her flowers and sash, and the 2 remaining girls stood together and held hands. "2 girls stand before us, each one lovely, each one receiving high marks for community service, health, and interview. Unfortunately, only one is the Queen, and the winner is Julie Vanderbilt." Everyone clapped as the tall brunette clasped her hands over her mouth and cried. "Unfortunately, that means Natasha Alpine has been disqualified. You may leave the stage." "There must be some kind of mistake," Natasha said. "I'm a queen. Why would I be disqualified?" "We've been made aware of an error in your community service hours," Winona said. "Now let's crown our queen." She shooed Natasha off the stage and took the tiara out of the hands of her assistant, Michelle Bell, and pinned it into Julie's hair, then placed a sash around her dress and handed her roses. With a flourish, Winona waved the crowd to clap over their queen, but Natasha had not left the stage, so Winona attempted to encourage her out of the way. But Natasha continued to argue that the crown was hers, until Bill Blachik grabbed her by the waist and pulled her off the stage. "Now it's time for the fireworks," Winona said into the microphone. "Seems like there were a lot of fireworks already," Jen said with a laugh. We turned to the sky as the fireworks shot up over the Straits of Mackinac and exploded into the air with loud booms. Mal was not a fan and jumped into my lap. I wrapped her tightly in a blanket, but she still shivered. "I'm going to run Mal home," I said. "I'll be right back." "Do you want me to come with you?" Rex asked. "No, I'll be fine." I lived at the top of the historic McMurphy Hotel and Fudge Shop. It was on Main Street, just a few blocks from the beach. Hugging Mal as fireworks exploded and people oohed and awed, I scurried through the crowd. As I passed by, I noticed that Winona was busy arguing with Natasha and what appeared to be her mother and her grandmother about the disqualification. I shook my head and headed up from the beach and onto the sidewalk, past the school and onto Main. The festival drew most of the people from the island, so Main Street was unusually quiet. I unbundled Mal and let her walk/run back to the McMurphy with me. Hurrying down the alley around the back, I saw that Mal was better, since we were no longer right in front of the fireworks. Poor pup. I hadn't realized how terrible fireworks were for pets. Thankfully, I had a comfort shirt for her, so I took her upstairs, put her in her shirt, gave her a chew bone, checked on my kitty, Mella, and then locked the door. The fireworks were slowing down as I left Main Street and walked the footpath to the beach. Then, just as the last fireworks exploded, I saw something in the water. Glancing around, I didn't see anyone nearby, so I hurried to the water's edge. It was a woman in a unicorn costume. The white dress with rainbow hair flowed in and out with the waves. I dove into the water and turned her so that her face was out of the water, and dragged her to shore. As I was taught in my high school lifeguard class, I got maybe a yard onto dry sand when I heard someone approach. "Allie, are you okay?" It was Mrs. Tunisian. She was a dear friend and one of a...